the Leafs are in a bit of a different position now because, I mean, they're still up against the cap, but they unloaded the Marleau deal. Matthews and Nylander left.
Yeah.
This is where we were talking about Winnipeg earlier. Well, they've got two. They've still got to get Laine and Connor done.
Winnipeg's an interesting one.
They are an interesting
question.
Because if it comes down to it, you might have to pick.
And just because I haven't reported, or Bob or Dregs, that Laine hasn't got a call today doesn't mean he hasn't, by the way. It just means we haven't heard that.
He should. Would have called on him every day of the week. But you have to call around on all of these players to see if any of them haven't even an inkling of an appetite.
No question.
Because as we've pointed out several times, these players have to sign it. They actually have to commit. Like, I will sign an offer sheet to go to organization X.
That's a big deal. And I've said this story before, but when Shea Weber signed that offer sheet, even though it seemed like a means to an end, so that, because Nashville didn't have money back then, they had ownership problems. The spin at the time, I think, was, well, this is a way to finally get, he was arguably the best defenseman in the game at the time, or one of. Still one of the best, but that back then it was the guy. Finally, I'm getting paid, so offer sheet from the Flyers and Nashville matches. But I will tell you, the immediate aftermath effect of that offer sheet was David Poile had the plant seeded in him that he was going to trade Shea Weber one day.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's a very emotional thing when you go through the offer sheet route.
Yeah, you take it personally.
You can't just my deal with you. It's a little, there are ways to get signed. Now, I don't blame the Marner camp from looking at every option here to get what they believe is fair. I think he'll end up signing with the Leafs. Here's the unfortunate consequence, even if he signs with the Leafs, let's say on Sunday or Monday. The last 2 weeks leading up to Monday are the two most important weeks of the entire season to reshape your roster. And outside of trading Marleau and trying on Subban, the Leafs have been paralyzed by the Marner situation. And I've talked to other teams and agents about this who have had conversations with the Leafs, and the Leafs are like, I'll get back to you. We got to figure out Marner. Now, that's not to say they won't do something here in the next few days before the Marner thing, but I'm just saying in general, it's limited their ability
to be in on
do
anything.
Some of the things. And what happens is, sure, maybe Marner signs Sunday or Monday, but have they missed out on things already that have transpired?
Right.
And
trade, or a player ends up moving somewhere else where they were in on that.
You could say all you want. You got all summer to fix your team, but a lot of the options evaporate in a hurry in this 2 week period.
Right. So do you think that would be because Dubas really doesn't know what the number is going to be, or he doesn't truly believe that Marner actually wants to commit? Because that's two different stories. Two very different angles.
To be honest, it has to be at the end of the day, because he's not 100% sure he's going to get him.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't get him, if he's forced to trade him, then presumably, I'm just going to throw this out as an example, not as something I think the Leafs are thinking of, so please don't radio me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say they're forced to trade Marner. And again, I'm on record. I think Marner signs with the Leafs. And in the last couple of days, by the way, I think the Leafs and Marner's camp have had some dialogue under the radar here. But if he doesn't sign and he's traded, does it not behoove the Leafs to at least phone Artemi Panarin's camp and say, hey, is it too late for us to have a conversation? So that's an example of what I'm saying. You need time if you're the Leafs to pivot here if things don't go your way.
Right.
Everybody's got the pivot plan. If you don't, you're not doing your job.
I'm sure they do have the plan, but they have to have time to perform it.
Well, don't you think Dubas...
Like, you can't wait till Monday to call Panarin. Panarin's making his decision probably by Friday.
Right. But why wouldn't you, if you're Dubas, why aren't you calling these other RFAs? Like, why wouldn't you be calling Mikko Rantanen?
Who's to say they're not?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know that
he
they
should
are,
be.
But yeah.
Like, I don't understand how you could explain what you're doing if you're not calling these camps.
The other thing I would say is this, and it's not so much tied to what happened with Liam Nylander, although I guess subconsciously maybe it is what I'm about to say, but should the Leafs draw a line here soon this week and say, this has to be figured out by this day?
No kidding.
Well,
this is our offer.
Like this can't be, this goes till camp here all over again.
They don't have that option again.
Right?
Because they're up against the cap. Again, with Nylander, with the backsliding, front-loaded first-year cap hit, and then everything slides down after that, they're not going to have that availability this season. But it kind of felt like they were trying to put forth that front before the draft. They've been saying since day one when they were eliminated, priority one is to get Marner done.
Yeah.
We're not going to do it again. We've learned from past mistakes.
Right.
Problem is, it's not a problem. It's just a reality of business. It takes two to tango.
Right.
In Marner's camp, they don't have to follow those guidelines.
And again, from Marner's perspective, you can certainly see the validity and using now this RFA speaking period as your leverage.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to argue.
It's his right.
yeah.
It's his right, just like we've talked about. It's other managers' right to use the CBA if they want to.
Yeah. And by the way, no other RFA signed.
Right.
Kyle Connor is out there. Patrick Liney's out there.
That's right.
The guy that I thought was going to sign right away is still not signed. Braden Point. Aho. Brock Besser.
Charlie McAvoy.
You go right down.
Dying to come back to Boston.
None of these guys have signed. Matthew Tkachuk, by the way, I'm not sure how that first conversation went from what I heard last week between Calgary and Tkachuk. So
Yeah.
it's not like it, we live in Toronto, so Marner's the.
Right.
But this is happening. This is a story that is shared on many fronts within teams and these high profile RFAs. And, it's almost like everyone involved is like, I don't want to go first.